Hey, what's going on? It's me, Vayna, 22-year-old realtor and real estate investor here in Seattle, Washington. And since I started sharing my journey in real estate when I was like 19 years old in 2020, I have constantly been getting questions about how to get into real estate, how to start investing, why it's important. So in this video, I'm answering your questions. Well, a little bit about me. I skipped college to get into real estate. I started when I was 18 years old, got my real estate license, started selling real estate. The whole goal was to eventually buy rental properties so that I could build passive income and someday stop working altogether, like in my 20s. And it's been going pretty great so far. This is my 4th year in real estate. I've sold over 100 houses. I've hired a bunch of people to my team. The team has sold hundreds of houses. So it's been a super great journey in real estate so far. And if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you've seen it the whole way. Shout out to my OGs. I get messages from people who are like, I've been following you since like your first TikTok or since you were at less than 10,000 followers. I'm just like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I'm putting this video together to do a little Ask Me Anything. I put a little thing on my Instagram, like, what are your questions? So we're gonna go through them together and let's get into this. All right, question number 1. Let's do a good one. How did you get into real estate? Well, my family is in real estate, so I really had the privilege of getting the direct connect into the field. Like, all I had to do was after high school, I went and got my real estate license. I had applied and signed up to go to University of Washington Foster Business School. I was a really good student in high school, but I just decided that if I'm going to spend time and money into learning something, then it should be something where there's no cap on my income. No one can really tell me what to do. I like to be my own boss. There's flexibility, mobility, and a way to build up my future. So for me, real estate is a vehicle to freedom of options on what I get to do with my life and choices as far as how I spend my time day to day. Like I said earlier, the ultimate goal is to buy rental properties and build up, like, my goal is $30,000 in passive income by the time I'm 25. I'm 22 right now. So for the first 2 years I was working with my dad, I was never handed a free lead. I had to make calls and go out door knocking and hold open houses for every single deal that I have earned. And after that, I started my team of people who had no experience in real estate, trained them on what I've learned from my experience, and got them going, and they've sold a bunch of houses. And we all kind of operate with like the same end goal of we are all committed to investing in real estate to build that future for ourselves. That was a good question. Nice little opener. Question number 2. What are my tips for studying the real estate course? I feel like I'm not retaining any information. So as we know, if you want to get into real estate, there are a couple ways you can do it. You can get into real estate without a license by wholesaling. I've done a bunch of wholesale deals too. It's actually a big part of my business now. I do a lot of off-market stuff. You don't need a license to wholesale. In most states, it does vary by state, which sucks because I can't just give you like the one-size-fits-all answer for this. If you want to be a realtor, then you need to take a real estate course. I recommend the online one. I've got a bunch of videos on how to pass a real estate test. Check them out. I go in depth on exactly what to do, which one to get, how to pass the test first time. It's after that, the assumption is that your brokerage is giving you really great training to become a great agent. So I recommend the Colibri real estate course online. Like I said, finish it out, pass a test, go join a brokerage. Pretty simple. Could I do real estate part-time while I'm in college? My internship is paying for my course. Yeah, so that's common. I am not super familiar on real estate brokerages paying for the courses for their new agents, but I have seen it happen and I've heard of it. Usually you're assuming that they're wanting you to sign up with them, right? If they're gonna pay for your course. So if you have a great connection with that brokerage, 100% go ahead and do that. As far as can you do real estate part-time while in college? 100%. My really good friend, Mackenzie Davis, is a part-time realtor while she's doing college. Check her out on TikTok. As of today, she's like almost at 100K, so let's get her at 100K. But yes, you can. I decided to quit college and just do real estate full-time because I wanted to basically full send it. If I was gonna do something, I wanted to put my full energy into it. And a big part of that decision-making process for me on not going to college was I'm gonna spend a lot of time in college and I know that I'm just gonna be like tunnel vision. If I'm gonna do real estate or college, it's one or the other. You can do it, balance exists, but my thought on college is if you don't need it, if you don't plan to use it, the degree, then don't get it. If you're only going to college because you feel like you should, do not go. Like, at least just take a gap year, you know, if you can, and figure out what you want to do. If you are going to college for free, like you get a scholarship or someone's paying for it, go have fun, learn something. Unless you really, really want to get into real estate, then do that. It's tough because your money is not guaranteed in real estate. That's probably the hardest part. And it's different for everybody on how long it takes to make money. It took me 6 months to make my first check in real estate. So if money is something you need to live, like you're not living at home, then I can't guarantee that for you in real estate. And I'm hearing a lot of like realtors say these days, like, oh, be careful when you're getting into real estate. You're definitely not gonna make money for 6 or 12 months. I think that's BS, because I've had agents come on and make their first deal in like the first 30 days. The other thing on this too is if you are just getting into real estate to make money, but you have a different plan for your career path, then I honestly don't recommend that. It's 100% possible. It is very easy to get your real estate license. And if you have a bunch of friends or family members who are buying real estate and you know that you have people to sell to, that's a great idea. Go get your real estate license, go make your check. But if you want to get into real estate part-time for the money, then I think there's going to be a really tough learning curve. Specialist makes more than the practitioner. If you are specialized as your full-time job, then you're going to be really good at real estate, you're going to make a lot of money. But if this is like your part-time thing and you're not putting your all into it, there's a lot of things you need to keep up on in real estate. It's pretty easy to make small mistakes in transactions. And so if you're not fully focused, then it can be pretty tough to work in real estate as a part-time thing. Oh, here it is. What should I look for when choosing a real estate firm? So if you're a new agent or you're looking for a new brokerage, then there's a couple things that are really, really important. And it does depend on you and how you work and your learning style and all that. But just in general, you want to make sure that they align with your values and that you fit in with the culture. I would probably say like 80 or 90% of real estate offices are just a bunch of independent agents doing their own thing. Maybe there's a couple trainings or events here or there, but for the most part, everybody keeps to themselves and they're not helping you. And if you're a new agent and you're working under a brokerage, this might sound familiar to you because I hear it all the time. I interview agents and they're like, I'm not getting the support at my brokerage. There was a sort of training platform, but after that, I just couldn't get a hold of someone to help me with my deals. So culture, support, mentorship. You don't want to look for people who are going to hold your hand. The most successful agents that have come to work on my team are proactive. They know how to find the resources they need. They're independent. They are able to learn on their own. They hustle hard and they come to me and ask me questions. So if I have someone on my team who hasn't done a deal yet, but they are hitting the phones every single day, having conversations with sellers and educating themselves, watching videos, reading books, and working on their business, they're going to get my attention because I see them putting in the effort to make this business work for them. I'm going to answer all their questions. I'm going to make time to coach them. I'm going to check in on them. I will be their mentor. But if someone comes on my team with their hand out, waiting to be fed, asking for leads, stuck in analysis paralysis, they want to be handheld through this real estate thing, then that is not worth any mentor's time. So as far as getting a great mentor or finding a great brokerage to work for, you need to put in the work. You need to show up, show that you're willing to hustle, produce results that can be converted into deals with your mentors, and they're gonna love you. You're making them money. It may be hard to find a good mentor in major markets, where there's a lot of investors and big realtors. It's interesting because especially in major areas like Seattle, LA, Texas, whatever, there are a lot of big names of realtors and investors. And what I will say is that if you are out there finding good deals, then you will get on their radar, 100%. Next question, what website items do I use to study the market? So as a realtor, I have access to the MLS. That is mostly what I'm looking at. I log into the MLS literally every single day and I look at what houses are active, what's pending, what has closed, what price are houses closing for versus what are they listing for. So is there some disparity between what sellers are asking for and what they're actually getting right now? I talk to my mortgage brokers all the time, keeping up on the new loan products, interest rates, what's going on. Special shout out to Keeping Current Matters. I have been using this platform for years now, and they've come out with a monthly market report for national real estate market. They've got infographics that you can post to social media. They do webinars all the time. It's a really good platform to stay up to date on what's going on and how to advise your buyers and sellers on the current market. Next question, how do you get your first clients? Cool. So my first client was a for sale by owner, pretty standard for new agents. When I was new, I was calling for sale by owners, expireds, and circle dialing. So for sale by owners are the people who put their house up on Zillow, they don't have an agent, they are just using Zillow as an advertising platform to sell their house. Like maybe they use Craigslist, Fizbur, there's a couple of websites now. I would just call them up and use my for sale by owner script and find out if there's an opportunity there for me to help them sell their house. Sale by owner is a good one because you already know that they want to sell. And then expireds are listings that were on the market with another agent, but then the listing expired after 90 or 120 days or whatever the term was. And we call call these ones and we're like, hey, what happened to your listing? Do you still want to sell? Is there an opportunity for me there to help the seller sell their home and do things that the other agent couldn't do? And then circle dialing, which is actually my favorite type of prospecting or cold calling, if you will, is when you get on a platform like Property Radar and you circle an area on the map and you pull the phone numbers of those homeowners and you call them up literally cold, asking them when they plan on selling their house. So circle dialing is my favorite because you have less competition. There's going to be a lot of other agents calling FSBO and expired, but it's very unlikely that there's a bunch of people calling, just people in a neighborhood. I also like to do that when I have a listing or my team has a listing or recently sold in a neighborhood. We will get the numbers of like 100 or 200 houses in the neighborhood and be like, hey, we actually sold this house on this street. Who do you know that might be planning to sell, or when do you plan on selling? I really do highly recommend getting on the phone or even going out and door knocking neighborhoods for your business because it builds resilience, it fights your fear of rejection, and you get to practice talking to homeowners. That's the biggest one. You get to improve upon your skills. You get to hear the problems of your marketplace. This agent didn't market my home well. It's too hard to sell my home by myself. I don't know who to go to. I haven't been able to solve this problem. I have a tenant who won't leave my rental property. I need help, right? We are looking for the people who need help and we're solving their problems. That is how we get paid. We got a whole video around this prospecting method of cold calling and my tips and how to get over the fear of rejection and all of that. Don't be scared of the phones. It can make you a lot of money. In addition to getting out there and having real conversations with homeowners, I recommend you hold open houses in the neighborhood. For new agents, I recommend you call every single person you know and get together with all your friends and other business owners who you know who can refer you business or, possibly work with you in the future. The worst thing is that one of your friends who you haven't caught up with in a couple months goes and buys a house with someone else because they didn't know you were in real estate. Don't let that happen. Ooh, gonna apply to Seattle soon. Out of all the food places you've been to, what's your number one? Oh, I love this. Man, I am such a foodie, you guys. Seattle has a lot of really great places. Really big Asian scene. I love Asian food, honestly. Exit 5 Korean barbecue in Renton is really good. I live in the neighborhood, and so I'm there all the time. Bai Tong Thai restaurant is really great. Shiro Sushi in Seattle is a nice little upscale little spot for really good sushi. Pike Place Market, lots of really awesome little food stalls there. What's your favorite restaurant, Michael? It's hard.
And are you talking about like in Seattle?
Yeah, let's like Seattle. You know what's better than Kazuki though? Dumbo Ramen
Really? Where
in Capitol Hill.
Portage Bay is good too.
Oh my God, yes, Portage Bay. Portage Bay is really good brunch. Yeah, if you want brunch in Seattle, Portage Bay for sure. Which online school should I take for licensing? You should take the Colibri Real Estate School. That is my preferred school. They're in all 50 states. It's affordable. It's going to get the job done. It's very easy to go through. They have modules, and it's going to help you pass the test the first time. Check out Colibri. How did you introduce yourself to the brokerage you started out? This is a good question. Let's keep talking about brokerages. So I had the in, like I said, I work for my dad's brokerage. So I didn't properly interview, but I have now hired a bunch of people onto the team. What I can say as a hirer of agents is this is what you should say at your interview. I wouldn't even call a real estate interview an interview. It's more of a two-way street conversation of does my team work for you and do you work for my team? And best case scenario, we're both going to make each other money. We're both going to help each other move towards our goals. We're both going to work towards our futures together side by side. And so we want it to be a good fit. So standard questions on the brokerage or team end are going to be like, obviously, what experience do you have in real estate? Why do you want to work in real estate? What are your goals this year? What are your goals for 5 years? Are you willing to prospect for business, or do you have a big database to pull from for business? Are you willing to participate in team events and trainings? What are you looking for in your business? Ideally, what does your business look like? And then questions that you should ask your brokerage are, what does the support system look like in the transaction? As in, are senior brokers or managing brokers accessible for questions during my transaction? What does the onboarding training look like? Are there team events and trainings? What does the in-person or virtual dynamic look like? What are the broker splits? That's an important one that you need to know. I have heard stories of people not knowing their broker splits at the first interview, which is crazy. Those are what you want to be asking at your interview.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that you joined family brokerage, right? So you talk about like what it's like working with your dad. People have that.
That's a really good question. Thank you for asking that, actually. So what has it been like working with family? Oh my God, I could go on and on about this one. I don't know if my dad's gonna watch this, but it's got its pros and cons. I mean, the biggest advantage is that I was like almost groomed to become a real estate broker from a young age. My parents are split up, but my dad, when my siblings and I were kids, he would play in the car these motivational audiobooks from like the 90s. We're talking Brian Tracy, we're talking Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Jim Rohn. And I was a kid, I wanted to like watch cartoons in the car. But we learned just by having that stuff on. My dad says I learned by osmosis. You know, you have to have goals, always improving, make your money work for you, be the employer, not the employee. The importance of having that attitude, persistence, fighting your limiting beliefs. I grew up in the self-improvement and motivation space. And on top of that, no one ever told me that I couldn't do this. I have a lot of friends in real estate who their whole story is like, they told me that I'd fail in real estate. They said it was impossible. They said I couldn't do it. My parents didn't approve. They wanted me to go to college. I was not only discouraged from going to college, I was learning all of this stuff from a young age. I was reading the books. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was in high school. So I started with a really strong mindset and I just had to apply the skills. So that was a really big advantage of growing up in the industry. And that, I think, is why I have so much success and following, is because I'm able to relate this information back on to my audience, the younger generation, get into real estate, how to make money, how to invest, why we need to be buying houses, what it can do for our future and our wealth. So I'm really grateful for the position I'm in, but working for family definitely has its drawbacks. Like I said, I never got free business. Like my dad does really well in real estate. And so when I was new, I was like, can you just give me one buyer? And he was like,
No.
You have to learn. Here are the books. Here are the Mike Ferry scripts. Go watch on YouTube. I'll take you to the Tom Ferry events, but you need to find your own business. And if he didn't do that, I wouldn't have such a great thriving business right now. I really believe in being an independent agent and creating your own business, because there are brokerages out there who will give you leads for 50 or 30% of the deal. That's honestly being an employee, because if you're only relying on the brokerage giving you business, then you're an employee. I'm sorry. Okay. Do I know anything about wholesaling? Do I? Hey, Vayna here. I get questions all the time on the best school or website for getting your real estate license. So I just want to pop in here real quick to shout out my preferred real estate licensing school and the sponsor of this video, Colibri Real Estate. If you want to get your license, Colibri is the way to go. They're available in all 50 states. They're ranked one of the best courses in the nation. Comes with everything you need to pass that real estate exam the first time. It's online, it's flexible. You can do it all on your own schedule. You can go at your own pace without sacrificing the quality of your education. Colibri's online platform is easy to use. From practice exams to quizzes and flashcards, they give you everything you need to start your career as a real estate agent. Links in the description below. Check out Colibri today if you are looking to get your license and take that first step towards a successful career in the real estate industry. Colibri is the way to go if you're getting your license. Now let's get back to the video. I started wholesaling